Hello, beautiful readers.
Hello.
I'm here with my friend and co-writer, Adrienne Giordano. She's staying at my house. We're brainstorming. We're doing all kinds of things. World domination is in sight. So, we are going to do a little interview. And I've got your questions that you sent in, and I'm going to ask Adrienne some of these interview questions. She's going to give you some answers because I know all these things you're dying to know what's going on. So, Adrienne.
Misty. Be gentle.
All right. Let's get started. So first of all, you guys know that we co-write the Justice Team series together, and then we both have our independent romantic suspense stories. So if there's one of you or some of you that have never read the Justice Team series, or you haven't read Adrienne's books, you need to go get them right now. Okay?
Thank you.
So, starting off, from Sue we have the question, I would love to know if it is difficult trying to match the writing styles of each writer in the Justice Team series.
Well, this is where I think we got super lucky because I think we were fans of each other's writing before we started writing together.
Yep.
So we kind of knew we wrote similar characters and snarky females and hot alpha males. So
really, us snarky?
Really,
snarky?
Never. So we really got lucky in that sense because
we did. Yeah.
Our voices are very similar. Mm-hmm. And the best compliment I think an editor ever gave me was our editor Gina, who she edits the Justice series for us, told me that she can't tell which one is Misty and which one is me. And that I thought was just awesome because we do switch on.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes Misty writes the heroine, sometimes I write the heroine, so
right.
It's never the same.
Yeah, we switch it up a little, but I mean, like for each book, you know, we take one of the characters.
Yes.
And channel them. And then we, you know, but it's not always, like, I don't always write the hero. Sometimes she does, and vice versa. So.
Yeah, and there's no rhyme or reason to why. It's just whatever we happen to be feeling for that book.
Right,
so.
Right. And I don't think we even think about matching each other's voice or anything. It just
happens.
Yeah. It's just like,
happens.
It's like we're of one brain sometimes.
Yes.
Like we say that to somebody. I was just thinking that, and that's just
thinking that.
You know, yeah. So okay. So I have another question here from Schwarnaski. Sorry, dear, I'm not sure about your name. So I apologize if I mispronounced it. But anyway, she would like to know. First of all, she says she's so excited for the next Justice Team book. She loved the previous ones. I'm hoping
out March 6th.
Yeah. I'm hoping Mitch and Gray will make an appearance in Defending Justice too.
I will say there is a Mitch appearance. There is a Gray appearance.
Yeah.
And the Mitch appearance, the first Mitch appearance in this book, may be one of my all-time favorites. That's all I'm saying on the matter, but it's a good one, and it made me laugh out loud. And it's classic Mitch. So I leave that with you.
Yes, you have to read it. So her question is working with another author of the same genre troublesome, or is it easy to just brainstorm and then co-write a story?
Yeah, I think, again, you have to pick the right co-author for this, because I can see where, if you don't, it would derail
everything.
Pretty easily.
Yeah, everything.
When we started writing together, we were both in a very similar place. We're both moms. We both had teenage sons that were busy, so our schedules really aligned with writing time.
Yeah.
So we were very lucky in that sense. And we also were both not super plotters, but we like to have an idea of where the story is going. We're not what you would call, in the writing world, they call it pantsers, where you write by the seat of your pants. Neither one of us, I think, is comfortable doing that, so we tend to have an idea where the story is going before we start writing.
Yeah.
So that really just works for us, where I don't know if I could co-author something with another author that is a pantser.
Yeah. So, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So for me, no, I think writing in the same genre is great because we both understand the elements of romantic suspense. We're also taking a dive into mystery, so I think that'll be fun. So yeah, I mean, I think it's easy. So
I do too. I think we're lucky because Adrienne's the one that was. I wanted her to do some cross promo, so I'm like, let's write a little short. I don't know what it was going to be, like a short story for newsletters or something, you know, just something fun for promo and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh, why don't we just write a whole book?" I was like, "Really? Wow, okay." So
Misty hasn't figured out she needs to say no to me every now and again. Just say no.
Yeah, I'm kind of easy going with that because she'll be like, "Hey, what if we do this?" I'll be like, "Oh yeah, let's do that." Okay. You know me, I'm easy to sway, especially in the world of, you know, mistreating our characters and, you know, doing terrible things to them.
Bring them pain.
And I think also, just on the flip side of the writing, like, we're both businesswomen, and so it's not that we get carried away with, like, a story and we're like, oh my God, this is my baby and we can't change, you know, like, we're not like that. We're kind of like, what works for the readers?
Right.
Because we want you guys to be happy first and foremost. Right. So,
because it really is, when you're an author, it's about your readers.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. So, anyway. Okay. So, now, Amy has a couple of questions. Like, Amy, you outdid yourself here.
Oh,
but
goodness.
Really fun.
All
okay.
Right.
So the first one is, I want to know if Adrienne prefers to write the sex scenes or if she wants you to write them.
Okay, well, there's probably no way for Amy to know this, but this has sort of been a long-running joke with Misty and I, because I've always said that I think Misty writes better sex scenes than I do. So we'll be, you know, writing along, I'll be writing along, doing my scene, and I go, okay, you're up, sex scene.
And it is, she's such a nice person that a lot of times, even when she does this, she'll be like, okay, so I'll think she's going to write it. And then she'll come back and she'll be like, okay, well,
way.
Yeah, I kind of went in this different direction and I kind of stopped here because I thought we could switch to your character's point of view and you could finish it. Or, you know, like something like that. So I'm like, okay, all right.
I did surprise her in one book, though, and I won't say, for those of you who haven't read, well, I'll say which book it was.
Yeah,
it was in Exposing Justice.
Yeah.
That I was not supposed to write a sex scene. And this particular sex scene was a rather spontaneous one, shall we say. And I was very proud of myself as I emailed her to tell her, I don't know what happened.
And I was like, all right, yeah, awesome. And it was really good. And I was like, you know, you really need to do more of this.
Yeah. But we do tend, all joking aside, we do tend to write our sex scenes, some in the male point of view and some in the female point of view.
We do try to mix it up a little bit.
I usually give her the hotter scenes, though.
Yeah, and you know me. I don't care. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, next question. Still from Amy. If Adrienne could be any of the Justice Team heroes' lover, who would it be and why?
Oh, my goodness.
Just putting you on the spot here.
This is a tough one. Well, I will say, I do love them all. I love little pieces of all of them. But if I had to pick one, as crazy as he makes me, I have to say Mitch Monroe.
It would be Mitch. And see, I just I figured.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He just makes me laugh out loud, and I just think he would be a hoot.
Yeah, so. He would drive you crazy in a flat minute, though. Yeah. He would. And
you would be like,
you would be like Caroline, though. You would be like, you'd put him right over there. You'd be like, sit down, shut up.
Relax. Get your head together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay.
I do love him, though. I'm very entertained by Mitch.
Yep.
And just so you know, Misty wrote Mitch in Cheating Justice. That was, actually, you wrote Mitch, most of Mitch's stuff.
Yeah, I can totally channel Mitch completely. Yeah. He's like my, alternate ego thing. So,
and he's one of those characters that you just can't keep out of a book. Like, he shows up in every book, whether we've planned it or not. Like, here comes Mitch Monroe, and I'm like, oh, Mitch is here.
and he will continue. Like, I could totally write him until infinity and beyond with the stuff that, because he's my. I don't know where he even came from. Like, when we were writing the first book, Stealing Justice, and I was writing Gray, and I was like, God, Gray needs a sidekick, like, that's so ego. Like, completely opposite of him. And Mitch just came out of nowhere, and I've been writing him since. And I'm like, if I could write straight Mitch, I probably would do it.
Absolutely, he is great fun.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one: what type of scenes are your favorite to write?
Ooh, okay.
It's obviously the sex scenes. She loves to write those.
They long. This is a tough one. I think, all right, this is going to sound really mean and awful, but I do love those scenes that are really kind of torturous to a character. Like, I like to push them as far as they can be pushed, because I really, like, to me, the joy of a character is watching them overcome it and just work it out and figure out how to get themselves out of the mess without coming apart. Yeah. And I love that. So, I think anything, in that, whether it's against the villain or against, whether it's the hero, the heroine,
or even when they're struggling with themselves. Yes. Like, you're so good with that, because you're like, oh, what if we do this? What if we have this happen to them? And I'm always like, you are so evil. You are so evil with some of that.
I do love that, though. That's fun stuff.
Yeah. I know. I think it is fun, because it's fun for us, because we know we're going to bring the character back.
Right.
Back to level and happy and all of that. So... so just in case if any of you haven't read the series, they're romantic suspense, so they always have a happy ending.
Their happy ending.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys switch up who writes the male versus female characters, which we kind of talked about already?
About that, yep.
So
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. And I think whenever the next character that we're going to spin off shows up in a story for us, it oftentimes is totally unplanned.
Right.
But we will know, like, immediately, like, that person's going to get...
He's our next, or she's our next.
He or she's our next hero or heroine, and we know who's going to write it. Like, I mean, it's... We just...
And I think with Beck, because Beck showed up in the last book, Missing Justice.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that we talked about Beck being a hero, but when it came back from edits,
yes,
I think I don't remember which editor, one of them said, oh, I totally want Beck as a hero, and I saw it, and I said, oh, we should do Beck as a hero, and Misty was like, oh, I would love to do Beck as a hero, so Beck is our new hero.
Yeah, so a lot of times, those characters, again, it's like we're just channeling, and they come through, and subconsciously we're probably putting them in there for a reason, but we don't realize it until we get down the road, and then we start getting feedback from fans or editors or whoever, and they're like, oh, is so-and-so going to get their own book? Yeah. And so that's really exciting for us, too, because then we're like, oh, sure, yeah,
let's do it.
Okay, which Justice Team book so far is your favorite?
Oh, another tough one. Because, again, I love them all for different reasons, but I have to say I think Cheating Justice. Mm-hmm. I loved every bit of that, and I drove Misty crazy with the plot of that book, because
we changed that
it was so
times, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but it was so research intensive that every time... And I get lost in the research. Like, I get sucked in. It's like a rabbit hole for me.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Every time I would find some little piece of research, I would just keep digging and digging and digging. And before I knew it, I had another plot idea. And the joke of that book became, don't kill me, but... Yeah. That was always my opening line.
She was sending me all these emails.
Don't kill me, but...
And I'd be like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And we kind of had that with Exposing Justice, with Bryce... and the ATF, and some of that. And that kind of, like, we kept kind of going on. But it ended up being such a great plot line.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we do a lot of research, and a lot of times we take certain elements from different things in real life that have happened. We read about scandals and conflicts and news and all these different things. So
what if?
Yeah, and we're like, ooh, I just saw this show, or I just read this article about this, and what if we took that element and because it fits with whatever we're doing.
That was in Cheating Justice. I read an article I live in the Chicago area, in the Chicago Tribune. I read an article about straw buying, which is a way of buying illegal guns. And I remember either sending you the article or whatever, and I just kept saying, like, this is, like, stuck in my head. Like, I get this little nibble stuck in my head, and then we just started talking about it, and oh my gosh, before you knew it, we had a plot.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. And there's occasionally when we'll plot something pretty specific out that we want to do, and then we'll get into the characters, and we figure out, like, we need to take the plot in a totally different direction because we have to be true to the characters and bring out whatever it is that they need to overcome.
Right.
So we've had a couple instances where we've done that, but
it's always fun though. It's always fun.
Yeah. I think we would, if we didn't write all these other things on the side, we'd probably just write these books together.
Just write these books.
We enjoy it so much. So
we play off of each other well.
We do. And like I said, we do have this thing like where we'll have the same brain sometimes, and I'll send her a note and I'll be like, hey, what about this? And she'll be like, oh my God, I was just thinking about that. Okay, and Amy's last question, which book was the hardest to write?
Ooh, the hardest. They're all hard. I'll be straight up honest. As much as it's so much fun to write, it's hard because that you really want to give the reader a great experience. So there's nothing easy about them.
It's not like we just write them right off the cuff, like we're just, no. We, like...
Sometimes it's torture.
Yeah, we absolutely, we dig as deep as we can.
The hardest one, I would say, would probably be Exposing Justice, only because the heroine in that, and I think the hero to a certain extent too, for you, was very different. The heroine in that book is Hope, and she's named Hope for a reason. It's because she is this crazy idealist. Like, she is just Miss Rah Rah, go team.
Cheerleader,
And she just wants everything to be great, and everything's just going to work out. And I tend to write heroines that are more kind of just straightforward, shall we say, kick butt girls. And Hope was not that way. So I tapped a vein on that one. I don't think I ever tapped.
You went deep for that one.
I went deep for that one.
Yeah, you stepped out of your comfort zone, I think, really on that one, but it worked really well.
Yeah, I had fun with her because she's kind of kooky.
Yeah,
she, and once I got into the flow of writing her, I really started to laugh out loud at some of her antics because she's
some of the internal
nutty.
Conversations that she has with herself are just screamingly hilarious.
She's just nutty. So,
and I had to play Bryce as kind of the opposite of that, being so he was so protective and everything. Like of his internal conflict was pretty great, but he wasn't the typical alpha male.
Right. He was alpha, but he wasn't that chest bumpy alpha.
No,
I call him.
And he was so paranoid. Like he was super paranoid, and like when you get into
when she walks into his house.
Him with all his drapes drawn.
She's like, could you open a window in here?
Yeah. So it was, that was definitely, she was like sunshine and he was like darkness.
Darkness, that's right.
But he was such a cyber geek, and I'm not a cyber geek. If you know me, I'm like totally tech challenged and everything. So that was stepping out of my comfort zone too. But I think
it was challenging.
Collectively, that was a hard book for us because of the characters.
I love the plot of that book, though.
Yeah.
That was a fun one, too.
Yeah, it was
that
really
was fun.
And of course we had Mitch in there.
Yes.
Mitch and Caroline in there.
Always.
So.
I don't think we can resist him.
We can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Jeannie wants to know, page for page, which is harder to write? Interaction between the leads or interaction with several of the other regulars?
Ooh, that... I think it just varies. It just depends on what's, I think, emotionally going on with the character, depending on who they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it really just depends, book by book, scene by scene.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I can't think of one particular that would be.
I think for me, a lot of times it's really, and this goes for any of the books that I do, but sometimes when you're getting to the point where the hero and the heroine are they're locking horns over something emotional.
Yes.
When we get to that point in every book, and we have those scenes where it's so like brutal with each
mm-hmm.
other, they have to be to push each other into, or one of them's pushing the other into admitting something or accepting something or whatever. And sometimes those scenes are really hard on me. Like afterwards, I'm like,
yeah. And sometimes even like in the scene, they may be arguing with the hero or the heroine, but it's that in the screenplay writing world, they call it the mirror moment, where the character has this moment where they have to really look inside themselves to rise above whatever is happening.
Right.
And I think those are some of my favorite scenes to write, because it really is just that moment where they're smack up against whatever their demons are.
Yeah, and they have to admit them, and yeah,
they either have to go down in flames or they have to figure out how to get out of it.
Yeah.
So
like in Missing Justice, the scene where they're going at about the sister, the missing sister, and Matt's just like, God. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was
so hard.
That was a crazy good scene, though.
Yeah, I really loved that book.
Yeah,
and
I did too.
Protecting Justice too, like with Fallon and Tony. Oh my gosh,
boy, Tony! I loved
those
Tony.
two.
Those two,
they were so snarky with each other, and they were so much
he
fun.
He was like that total alpha male.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
really
an
alpha female.
So they were just banging heads all the time.
And then when we got to some of the scenes where we had to bring those layers down.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
And expose those nerves that they had.
And they had to figure out how to just be vulnerable with each other.
Right.
And that was really a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those two books for me were two, like, and this latest one with Becky, it's too
Jackie.
Hard to pick a favorite. Yeah, you're right. It's like bits and pieces. But
You love them. I love Jackie. I think in my next life I'm going to be a snarky defense attorney.
You were totally like, totally into that, Jackie. And that was perfect. It was really good.
She was fun.
Yeah. So anyway, there's our author interview for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And, I'm going to be doing some more of these. So thank you to Adrienne for being here and for taking the questions. And we're already starting to plot the next book. But right now, in a couple weeks, we have Defending Justice coming out. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I think it'll be up for pre-order pretty soon. I know there's a few of you that already asked me for that. So, as soon as I have links, I'll be posting. And, of course, it'll be posted on the Justice Team Facebook page as well. So, love you guys. Thank you. And we'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed the interview.
Bye, guys.
Bye.